Da skal vi si velkommen til dagens gjest, Jasper Kurth, the CEO of Thor Medical. Like I said, AF-gruppen is up today on their numbers, and so are you, up almost 3%. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
We've had your CFO, Beatuful, as well here before. Lots of things going on. Should we start maybe with the people who don't know your company? Alpha emitters, used for diagnosis and treatment as well?
Yeah, treatment,
cancers.
Treatment for the most part. So we are a company that is producing pure alpha emitters, and alpha emitters are the future of cancer treatment when it comes to nasty cancers that spread in the human body. So actually we are standing on the shoulders of giants, because here in Norway, the first alpha-emitting drug was invented by a company called Algeta, which was later purchased by Bayer. So the principle of this drug is very, very cool, because it actually connects to the tissue where the cancer is. So Sofigo did this by mimicking calcium, so it was where it is for bone metastasis. But the new generation of drugs are targeted. So they have a targeting vector molecule, a peptide or an antibody, as we know from vaccines. And they go to the bloodstream as an injection, and they circulate the bloodstream, find the cancer cells, not only the tumor, but also metastasis, single cancer cells that float around the bloodstream that are very prone of forming new cancers. And then a radioactive payload is deployed. So we kill these cancer cells. And we see a disruption in this market. So a lot of new drugs enter the field. So this morning I talked about in the H1 presentation, there are two drugs, blockbuster drugs by Novartis, $7 billion peak sales. So big drugs for Novartis also.
Is that what they're selling right now? Or is that the plan?
That is what's sold right now.
Okay.
These drugs use, I would say, inferior isotopes, beta-emitting isotopes. They are not as effective, and they spread far, so they also touch healthy tissue. And the isotopes we produce here in Norway are so-called alpha-emitting isotopes, meaning a much larger punch, so it will rip through the double DNA strand and kill the cancer cell very effectively, unlike the beta emission. It is very safe because of the short half-life. So
I was about to say more contained almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it basically, the product that we are producing has a 10-hour half-life. So the logistical challenge is to bring it to the patient in time. It's injected, it kills the cancer cells, it basically blows up the tumors, and then it decays into something stable, which is excreted in the normal way, and the immune system can actually clean up the cancer site. So it's a very effective, safe way of treating cancer.
So how far have you come in testing this on humans?
That's the good part of this company. We're not investing in clinical trials ourselves, so we're participating in this market by managing in a customer portfolio of now 5 clients that are signing contract with us, and they in turn invest hundreds of millions of euros in their pipelines. And we tap this market as a supplier of their active ingredient. So we only supply the medical isotope that is combined with the drug. So the drug works because of us, but we are not assuming the same risk. So we are having a portfolio of customers, and with that, we're not at the mercy of a single drug.
But how do you manage the risk if you have 5 different companies? You must be sure that one of these companies don't use your drugs in a bad way, because that will hurt the development of the other 4. How do you manage that risk?
In a small market, you have to have a lot of partnerships, and everybody is committed to making this successful. So it's important.
So everyone's doing the same?
Not the same, different indications, different molecules. So there are different schools of using, as I said, peptides, some nanoparticles even. So there are different ways of treating these cancers with a different route. And what we are doing is we produce and supply these isotopes in a pure form. And we are agnostic of how the customers actually use it. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah, because you're in a way supplying the main ingredient or one of the main ingredients,
exactly.
And they're packaging it, adding some more things, and creating an actual product or a treatment out of it. Talk about, because we just had Onco-Invent on earlier this week that you announced you have a partnership with now.
Yes.
Talk about, I don't know what you can say about your partners and customers. Is it a span from small companies like Onco, which still are a few years away from revenue, having a treatment that they can sell in the marketplace, and players like Novartis? I mean, do you have big players also that are selling this today?
We have players that are using it today, not selling it because it's not approved. But the range of customers ranges from Onco-Invent, which we are very proud to have, because I think they're such an amazing mission to bring a treatment for peritoneal cancer, which is an unmet need, to large pharma companies. So we actually have made our first sales in the last half year. So we reported this today. And this is actually to a large pharma company. We cannot disclose at this point because they don't want to be spooking the investors since they have other isotopes they work with. So we basically...
That changes the risk picture, I mean.
Exactly. So Onconvent on
not to down-talk Onconvent, but it's a different game if you supply Pfizer or Novartis or
we
whoever.
have well-funded customers. Art Bio, for instance, also with a strong Norwegian footprint. Again, I come back to this point that Norway is the hub, in Europe at least, for radiopharmaceuticals. Well-funded, 132 million euros, US dollars they raised recently. We have Advancel, another Australian company with a great product pipeline. So these companies are well-funded. Behind Novartis, Eli Lilly, behind Advancel, Eli Lilly actually invested also. There are more companies that we have partnered with and have signed significant strategic offtake. But again, there's another company that we cannot disclose.
The vector approach got very popular with Moderna, the vaccine, and now they're having troubles. So how come they're having troubles while you are using this approach to this approach, and that's supposed to be successful?
It's not that similar. I mean, it's the same technology in broad strokes, but actually it's a very different way of using these targeting vectors. So, and this company, Thor Medical, is independent of any target vector. So we produce the isotope that is chelated into the drug and then deployed on site.
But Moderna made it acceptable to use this way.
One of which. So I think this is also development in the pharmaceutical industry, that these antibodies can be bought as white label off the shelf by now. So this development has enabled these targeted therapies. And other ways of treating cancer is this ADC, I think you refer to that, where you deploy a chemotherapy to the drug. The advantage of using radioactivity is, even though it sounds dangerous, but you're completely ignoring how the tumor works. So you don't have to understand how it signals or how it metabolizes. You just use a sledgehammer, hence Thor, and punch it.
But how do you? I mean, doctors, they go to medical schools and they learn things that. I mean, science that we have had for thousands of years, and then you come with this new technology. How are they open to accept new technologies? How do you get them to try it? I mean, it's humans you're working with.
And that's actually a very good question, because this is why we are so happy that Novartis is blazing the trail. So these two drugs Novartis has on the market, they receive a lot of acceptance from these physicians, because they are, of course, concerned when they hear radioactive, a difficult supply chain. Can I provide this drug to my patient tomorrow? So with them being successful, this means that better drugs with using better isotopes produced here in Norway, will have a much easier way into the market, since this is an established route.
You're keeping your CFO busy.
Yeah.
Because you're at the same time both constructing at Herøya, your plant, and then you got a big, I don't know if you can call it offtake agreement, but you got a possible big client here. So you decided to scale up the whole project.
Yes.
And you raised about 100 million now. This summer.
Yes.
If you add up all the main capital raised, the subsequent one, the primary bid one. For 2 kroners and 50 a share. Let's start with the status of the construction at Herøya. What's the sort of time plan now, and how far have you gotten?
So if you go to Herøya, you see a major construction site. So if I go there, and I do this quite often because it's so high on my priority list, I stand in the way of so many people walking around and trying to build this factory. So it's very good to see and feel the process and the progress when you're there. And we plan to finish this plant by mid of next year, and then we have to run the commission process. So in Q3 we plan to produce our isotopes, and then we scale from there. So
did you just add another line since you decided to step up and scale up the whole investment, or did you add another building on the side? Or
it's a function of debottlenecking the plant. So of course buying new equipment, but also buying more raw material. And the great way of this last transaction on the financial market is that the additional capital that was invested was very accretive in terms of return on this investment, because it created much more capacity than with the original investment. So seeing this also is good for an investment base.
How's your ability to scale further down there at Herøya if you need so in the future? Do you have more space?
This is a huge building that we rent out on a long-term lease agreement. So we have that option space. I see also opportunities maybe to separate the step. We have a first separation, and this is unreal when you hear it for the first time. We take 1 metric ton of our raw material and we produce 0.4 milligrams. That's just the first step. So if we separate the first step from the downstream processing, it's conceivable that we have much smaller footprint sites all around the world in the future to actually increase that capacity, have a central separation done in Norway, and then we send out a much lighter, much nimbler product around the world. So this could be one way of scaling up production in a meaningful
This
way.
ton of raw material, are you getting that from Ulefoss, the thorium there, or where are you getting it from?
We have currently a strategic supply agreement with a conglomerate from Europe, so there is very limited geopolitical risk. This is important for me to highlight. And we're looking at all sorts of sources, and my favorite would be Finansavisen, where we have the largest deposit of not only rare earth elements, but
and
also thorium.
Finansavisen, that's Ulefoss.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's...
That would be nice in the future, but it takes some time, as we all know. And in the meantime, we need to scale up a plant. So we are looking to buy raw material from our supplier, and also we will diversify and find new raw material suppliers.
Yeah.
The beautiful part is it's a waste product from mining. So we actually have a very good way into the market buying something that people don't need and actually have a headache with, and we take it as our raw material. I think this is a very symbiotic way of doing business.
Talk about your finances moving forward now, because you had a negative EBITDA of 23 million.
Yes.
You can't really just, draw a line from there and sort of see your cash burn, given that you're building a huge plant down in Herøya.
Yeah.
But you finished with the 100 million, I assume, in raised capital. You ended the first half with just over 220 million kroner. How long will that last you? Will it fully fund the whole plant down there, as is the plan now?
Yes.
Before any further expansion, or?
Yes. So I think the most important message here is that we are fully funded to break even. So we will build the plant on the cash balance that we have. We are very mindful of not having too many bells and whistles. So we focus on capital allocation where it matters. And this means that we build the plant, we will ramp up the plant, and toward the end of 27, we will cash break even. And then we are operating on our own expenses, which is very good.
So the plant ready sometime mid next year, and then you have a ramp up over about a year and a half until you're at full capacity, or?
Yes. Yeah. So the way it works, the process starts slow and then actually picks up speed. It's a self-scaling process, so it's hard to get your head around, but there is a point where we don't need to add any raw material because we just reuse the raw material and make use of the natural decay of thorium. So that's the cool part. So once the market is fully ramped, we don't have to buy any raw materials anymore because we can just reuse what we have on site.
But do you need to be fairly close to full capacity to be cash break even, or do you reach that threshold at 50, 60% or something?
After 3 years of opening the plant.
Yeah.
So this is then the envisioned capacity of 21,000 patient doses, but this is not where the plant stops. So it will actually scale up further from there without us adding more investments to 60,000 patient doses. But due to the way the decay chain works, it takes some time. But this is after achieving the boilerplate capacity of 21,000 patient doses.
So you start, so 2029 you make profit?
No, 27 actually, end of 27.
Then you need to talk to your analysts because that's negative in the estimate. So you need to help them with the estimates because that helps your share price.
I'll take this as a homework.
Yeah. I'll show you on the Bloomberg machine afterwards. So just tell them to update their estimates because that's important to you because there's a lot of people that invest based on just, they look at the numbers, they don't even talk to you. And as soon as they see you make money, people that you don't know are going to start buying your stock with robots.
Yeah. Just to be clear on the run rate, so the full year might be 28, but
but still.
So, but to get all this approved, are basically your customers or your partners who make the final products, are they in practice doing all the groundwork to get this approved in different markets, or do you also have to yourself go to the FDA, European authorities to get this approved?
The heavy lifting is done by our customers, especially when we focus on selling precursor isotopes without getting too technical. Lead-212, that's the final isotope. For most of our customers, we sell a product that is on the decay chain before that. So they would use generators next to the patient to generate lead and produce the drug. And they take all the risk and they have to do the hard work and heavy lifting to get this approved with the FDA. So this is a very good position for us because having worked in the core pharmaceutical industry, it can be a headache to talk to all these regulators.
Yeah. So do you see yourself more as a medtech company than a biotech, or?
It's hard to put a label on.
Because I was sort of pondering this morning when I was writing the graphics. Is it biotech or medtech? I mean, you're a supplier.
Exactly. We're playing in the field without being exposed to it fully. So I think it's a very comfortable position, to be honest.
We'll see. Jasper Kurth, head of Thor Medical, thank you so much.